Hey guys, it is Motivation Station with Rose and Sanjay. Hello, hello. Oh, I lost Rose. Oh no, not again. Okay, I got you. Hey, Rose.
Hi,
Welcome,
good
welcome, guys. How are
morning.
you? How are you, Rose?
I am doing pretty well. Of course, every week is a new chapter to talk about, right?
Of course, of course. How's your
Yeah,
week
I
been?
want to share. I want to share a little update on my mom, like we always do, right?
Yes,
I said
please.
she's cancer free. So today she already went with her friend that took another friend. It's three girls over 75, right? She's 74. So over 70 and went to the concert together.
Concert?
Okay.
What?
Yes, the three ladies went to the concert today. And I think me chatting with her more every day, doing psychotherapy, and actually I started sending her a message before I go to sleep. It's 8 hour difference. So in the morning she gets so she wakes up with my message and that
Mm-hmm.
really brightens her day
Mm-hmm.
because usually it's something nice I say or something that she needs to interview or like integrate in her lifestyle or anything like that. So it's
Right.
kind of being a very life game changing for her.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's amazing. It's amazing transformation. It was still now she did her blood test. Blood tests are showing a pretty great on certain things that she needs to be great. Now she's gonna go to second treatment of the new medication, which
Mm-hmm.
she really don't want to, but we have to.
Yeah, it's a process. Yeah.
There is not only psychotherapy, there's also chemotherapy. I know it's a very harsh
Yeah.
cycle. It's for 28 days and then 2 weeks off and three cycles on the second cycle. And the CT scan is going to be in April. And in April, I'm going to sure it's going to show tremendous change.
Yeah.
And my goal by September and by the end of the by her 75th birthday, which is in December, I want her to be cancer free,
Mm,
and that's what the goal is. That's the target goal.
mm.
And today I'm all lovey. I know it's a Valentine's Day coming up. February it's
Yeah,
a
next
pink
Friday.
month.
Yeah.
It's a love month. Also, I want to say this weekend we're having a history in America. It's a Super Bowl. I
Mm.
am not a fan,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't mind going to someone's house and watching the game and actually having fun. And I was invited. I
Yeah.
want to say shout out to Melissa and Tina. I love you guys for inviting me to their house. We are gonna play some games and watch the Super Bowl. It's gonna be fun. Thank you also, Darren and Brandon. Uh, there's my dear friends, and we try to create a tradition for like Christmas, Thanksgiving, and Super Bowl parties. When you come, we meet, everybody bring a dish, bring a game, and we just have a good time.
Yeah.
And I hope everybody have a great time this weekend. It's Super Bowl, and of course, drink responsibly.
Yes, drink. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. But that's cool. I mean, like, sometimes it's not all about like the tradition of like of doing something, right? So like Christmas, Thanksgiving, like we don't necessarily celebrate it in my family, but we'll still do stuff to get together, celebrate time with family and friends. Eat, like you might not be a football fan, but it's gonna be nice for you to meet up with your friends and family and be able to spend time with them, and have fun, watch a show sorry, watch the game, eat some food, drink, like I said, responsibly, stuff
Yeah,
like that. But also that I'm happy to hear about your mom. First of all, going to a concert is a pretty big deal.
thank
But I
yeah.
hope she had fun, and I'm sure she did. But her doing these great strides, to be honest, like all the steps that she does, hanging out with her friends, going to events. Yeah, there's some definitely challenging times ahead, but she's fought this much so far, and she knows that the fight is gonna get harder, but at least she's not going in with nothing. She's going in with this
Yeah,
very very strong
yeah,
mentality, this
definitely.
strong physical
The
feeling, you know,
mindset is
mindset. And
focus
like the thing is, like
changed.
you're
Yeah.
there for her too. Like that makes a huge, like I was my mom was feeling sick the last few days, and we didn't call her because we were sick too, because I don't know if you guys can tell,
Oh,
but I
I
my
could
whole
tell.
family has the flu. We all have the flu here. I'm just recovering from it. I'm about like 3 days in. I still have like a slight cough. My nose isn't as running as it was before, but my mom's like, you know, I'm not feeling good, and like she felt tired and stuff like that. And we called her, and despite all of us being sick, we're like, oh hey, and like you can see her expression just change from like tired and miserable to like her face like glowing up, like, oh my god, it's, you know, my son and my granddaughter and blah blah blah. And like I could tell like she felt refreshed, rejuvenated almost from just us giving a call and just saying hi. And so stuff like that makes a difference, and it makes a difference between, you know, not just like mother and daughter, father and daughter, or anything like that, but even your friends. You know, you call your friend, she's like, hey, what's up, man? I haven't talked to you in forever, how's everything? It turns people's days around. You know, people want to hear from you, people want to catch up, and we don't do it enough. You know, we live in an age where we're all too busy. It's all about making time, not having time. You know, and not everybody can do it. But I implore to all of you to try to make that effort because it will make a difference.
I agree. I think we live in a pandemic of loneliness. Everyone is lonely. No one is connecting anymore. And the key ingredient is just a normal talk, just a meeting of friends for coffee and just having that talk, or just calling somebody. Nowadays, not everybody calls, and a lot of people on the messaging areas, any social media areas. How about we just call and talk? How about we actually meet up and say, hey, how's it going? How about we actually go and do things like going x-raying, going play games? Uh, can we do something?
Yeah,
Not
it's
play video games. Like one of my friends, I think it was a couple of years ago, she's like, oh, can we play this? I don't even remember the name of the game. I'm like, what is this? Like, oh, it's a video game. You know, we just, I'm like, for what? Yes, as a health coach, I can say that playing a video games certain amount is actually healthy for your brain because it's challenge your brain. It's making you reactivate neurons and stuff like that. But in a constant mode, what is it? Like I was puzzled. I was like, how about we just go outside and play like we were kids, right? Playing ball and I don't
we
know. We always played hide and seek. I don't know. We played so many basketball, anything outside,
th-
volleyball. Like,
there are
come on.
definitely a lot of changes. You know, definitely generationally, right? So
Yeah.
there were the days where, because I can back up the video game part, and only because I'm that type of person, right? So I was never like a physical person, never really played sports or anything like that, right? But I agree with you that we are at a weird point that even like messaging, right? Like you text message someone, or you instant message. You know, like back in the day, we had AOL, we had Yahoo, and we would like go
Yeah.
in chat rooms, right? That was like our generation. That's what we started getting into, right? The generation before us was like all about phone calls, all about, hey, come over Saturday for some tea and biscuits, you know.
Yes.
It's a lost art, and I do see a comeback. I see. I mean, you see it too. You know, we go to coffee shops, right? Like especially hole in the wall coffee shops. We'll go visit these
Oh, my
places,
favorite.
and you see
Yes.
people there, and you see the most random people there, right? You see it like you can see a businessman there. You can see two moms catching up. You see like a group of friends just out having like a latte. Like it's starting to make a comeback, but we definitely lived in an age where it's just like let's just talk online. You know, I don't. I didn't grow up a huge fan of being on phones. Like I don't like talking on the phone because I don't know what to do when you're not talking, right? Because like for me, I grew up that way. I grew up a lot around video games, right? And that's why
Yes.
I'm defending it because all I did was video games. But as much as it was weird, I met friends like me that played video games,
That's
and that
nice. I played Mario.
yeah, well, yeah, like Mario or Sonic, whatever, right? But like
Yeah.
we grew up because of that, right? And then outside of the video games, there we started to learn more about each other. So we got into other stuff too. We got into like board games. We got into like fantasy
Yeah.
stuff. We got into like going to Comic Con. Like definitely like what say when it comes to stuff like that is like find people who are in your likeness of that, right? So I have a few friends that I'm not gonna put on the spot or anything, but like they're in the dating phase. They're trying to find people to date. They're trying to find people to kind of like grow
Mhm.
with, like get married to and stuff like that. And they go on these dating apps, right? And I think that's like the most dangerous thing you can do because dating apps is really just surface level. If like think about it. If for dating apps you put a or you put a bio, right? You put like a bio like, "Hi, I'm this tall. This is my career." You're basically giving like a resume to like someone and you're like, "Do I approve of having this job application for?" Like it doesn't work that way. It really doesn't. And I tell my friends all the time, like, why don't you just go do stuff you like? You like reading books? Go to Barnes and Noble. Find people who are in your aisle. Look at the same books you're looking at. Talk to them. You like playing video games? Go to an arcade. Meet some people there. Play games with them. Like there's so much stuff you can do to meet people now, right? And it's not just like going to an app and just seeing if you guys have a percentage that
Yes.
matches. No, dude, just go out, meet somebody, talk to them. And the thing is, you have to be open to like it not working out. I'm sure, you know, I can share the toll of I've dated people who, we things went well and if things fell apart,
Yeah.
right? But that doesn't mean you can stay down. You can't say like, oh, they weren't good enough or I'm not good enough. You just okay, you're not compatible. So you just kind of got to brush off your shoulders and go back in. But we live in such a weird time period where classic things like going on the date doesn't necessarily mean that like right away like that's it, like it's marriage, like right after this. It's no, you're learning to explore each other even more. Like I've been married to my wife for 5 years now. It's gonna be 6 years in like November, right? And I'm still
Mhm.
learning things about her.
Of course.
I'm still
Of course.
growing with her and we're growing together and we're going through
That's
different
great.
phases in our life. And then
Yes.
we had our daughter and then that started going to different phases. um but like it's all about growing together, and I don't think these dating apps explore that idea. They're just like, here's peanut butter, here's jelly, and slap them together. Like, no, that's not how that works.
It's different. I had a friend that she was only on dating apps and she met her beautiful
Oh yeah.
husband, even my cousin.
Oh,
My
okay,
first
cool.
cousin, he was
Yeah.
married to a girl from dating app. It's ah, it looks like it's for introverted people that people cannot go out and explore like that or limited on time, do things like that, which is totally fine. For me personally, like I'm a video call person. Like if I not physically cannot be there, I want to see you on my video. I want to see
Right.
your eyes. I want to see your emotions. I cannot just do phone call and be like, oh, okay. Like I want to see you. I want to see your face, expressions. Like for me, like the video call, right? It's going to be a FaceTime, WhatsApp, whatever you guys prefer, Telegram. Like I do like like I want to see you, right? That's I feel like the closest I could be. Even when I call my mom, I think this the closest I could be is just like it's like being on the same room, but
Face
it's
to
not.
face. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
It's
know?
still face to face.
Eh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like for me that works if I cannot physically be there.
Right.
But if I physically can be there, why not meet up once a week
Yeah. No, I
for
agree.
coffee?
Yeah.
Being social because that takes away stress, depression. That gives you endorphin. That gives you oxytocin, serotonin, right? All the good hormones are actually boosting in your body by just meeting someone, hugging them for 20 seconds, right?
Yeah.
And
There. Yeah.
talking and just being there for that person. Connecting is another thing that I'm learning right now more deeply. I'm reading this book, Everyone Communicates, Few Connect, by John Maxwell. Anyone who wants to read, welcome. And I'm learning right now how to connect one on one more deeper, what it takes to connect one on one, what it
Yeah.
is to communicate. Effective communication, it's connecting. And this is lost art nowadays. People don't know how to connect. They can communicate, they can talk about themselves all day long, but they don't know how to connect with other person and focus on others instead of focusing on
On self.
themselves.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
And I think our guest today, my dear friend David, really brilliantly knows how to read energies and how to actually connect deeply on one,
Mm,
and actually knows what the other person needs. Those pieces. There's a rare people that can actually do that, put pieces together and give what the other person needs.
yeah. Yeah, no, I've always been a person when it came to my own situation, never great at it, right? It was always a
And feel
growing
better,
habit,
please.
but
Please feel better.
thank you. And then for my for everybody else, like I've had people who were in relationships, and I would always try to like be the one that be like, look, don't look at it from this point of view. You got to kind of look at it from their point of view, and vice versa. It is all about. I think the biggest thing is communication for sure. Yeah, I definitely want to get into it for sure. But let's bring in our guest before I get too into it, because I am sure he's gonna want to share some ideas too. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring in
Yes.
David. Hello,
David
David.
Cardoza. Hello, David.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can. Welcome
Yes.
to the
I ha-
podcast.
Thank you for having me. I just like make sure I was not muted.
No,
It's
no,
like
you're all set. You're good.
okay,
We hear you. How are you doing
good
today, man?
shit. I'm doing really good. I woke up, I usually wake up in a good mood every single day. So for
Mm.
the most part, so yeah, I'm doing
That's a
really
good
good.
thing.
Just happy to be here. Happy to see Rose. Every single time we're together, it's always a blast. But
Thank
I
you.
was like, you're welcome, baby. But yeah, and this topic I feel very passionate about. So I'm like, let's do it. It's like,
Yeah.
well,
We have
I was
the.
listening to you guys, and I'm like, was like just sitting. I don't know if you could see me, but I'm like here, and I'm like nodding my head, and I'm like, just yeah, like it's
Yeah, no, I think
crazy.
I think it was a good transition to what Rose was talking about. Besides like the gratitude, because yeah, getting up in the morning and just trying to have that good mindset is like half the battle for the day.
It is.
And then like just going through the day, and you never know what can happen. We can't
No,
control what
definitely not.
happens. We can't control what happens from the outside world, but we can control at least how we react to it.
I
Yeah.
I have this like family member. I think it was my aunt or my it could have been my aunt or my mom. They'd be like, whatever's meant to happen or whatever happens, it's because it's supposed to.
Exactly.
That's what's supposed. That's it's supposed to happen. Like that's just like you can't control your destiny or fate. I don't know which word would be better, but it's because it's supposed to happen. Like some of the worst things in your
Yes.
life bring like the worst things bring on. You're like, oh my god, if that didn't happen, the greatest thing wouldn't have happened. So, you know,
Yeah, I
Right.
think.
It's also 10% what happens to us and 90% how we react to it, right?
Yeah,
oh
One of my
yeah,
exactly.
favorite
Yeah.
quotes.
I
Yeah.
definitely, I think there was a point in my life I got to that when I look back, I was like, no, my life would be the same. My life would be the same. And then I think it was after I got married and I had my daughter. When I look back, I was like, would I be here if it wasn't for the stuff that happened to me? And the answer was like, no, definitely not. I
yeah.
wouldn't
Like
even be remotely, you know.
there are certain things that in your life that lead you. If you would have went this way, who knows? Like what would you would have been in a completely different. You could have been in a completely different. Maybe you wouldn't be here right now, but if you go this way, like it's what led you here, and that's how it was supposed to happen, I guess.
Yeah, and I think the importance to that as well is like once you're on that path, it's best to never look back. You know,
Oh yeah,
you,
no,
you can't
past
look
is
back and think of what could have been,
yeah,
what should have happened. Doesn't matter.
yeah.
You're where you are
Hmm.
now, and it's all about where you go from here.
Exactly. Yeah, past is kind of irrelevant. There's nothing you can do about that.
Exactly. So,
Like
yeah, upon gratitude, but like, I did title this podcast "Love is Love," and I think it's important that,
no,
like Rose and I were talking about earlier, just a little bit, just about like, like I have a few friends on dating apps and stuff like that, and I'm not saying dating apps don't work, but I just find it interesting that we live in an age where like,
I I met my husband on a dating app.
yeah, no,
Well,
I'm
no,
not,
actually,
Hello.
I'm not
it
even,
wasn't
Hello.
even it
I'm not
wasn't
even
even a
knocking that.
dating
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
it
Sorry.
wasn't even a dating app. It was actually a hookup app. so, so it just happened, because there's like there's ones more like for like the Tinders, those are more for like dating, like the people that are looking for dating.
Yeah,
But the
right, right.
app that I was on is more for like just like
Hey,
and Rose
listen,
knew the
a
old
spark
David.
can come out of anywhere. At that
Oh,
point,
it
it
did.
doesn't even matter.
If it's meant to be yours, it's not
Oh,
gonna
I
go
knew.
anywhere. It's
Oh, I
yours.
knew. I knew from that first freaking that first initial conversation. I'm like, this is something like something. I'm like, I don't know,
So
but
I mean, I'm definitely not totally knocking it, and I'll tell you, when I met my wife, I met her on Craigslist, okay? And I know that
okay.
sounds
See,
Oh
shady. Yeah,
wow.
yeah, I
no,
know that
I've
sounds
been
shady. I know that sounds shady, okay?
not to me, not to
But
me,
like,
Craigslist. I never heard of
not to me.
anybody meeting anybody
but
on
That be
Craigslist.
this is
look.
this is how I met. Okay, this is how we met. So I was working overnights, right? I was working at a job and I was working overnights, and I was like, "Yo, I need somebody to text." And I wasn't going to like the shady parts, like I want to hook up or anything. I was like,
Not
I'm
the
just
back. You
looking.
weren't on the back
No,
pages.
not the back page
Okay,
stuff. No, no,
okay.
no. I was just like, I want somebody to text. I want someone to chat with. I want somebody to talk to, right? And she had put up a post that she was like upset with, like she was religious, and she was like upset with God. She was going through some trifling times,
Hmm.
and she wanted someone to talk to. I was like, look, I'm not great with religion, but I have good ears. Like if you want to lean on my shoulder and
Yeah.
talk to me, let's go. So we started talking, we got to know each other, and then we did the classic dating. I took her out on a date. People don't really do that anymore. Like people are just like, are we
No.
Hmm.
compatible? Yes, no. It's like, no, let's go out.
Yeah.
Let's go
They have
have
like
dinner.
the
Yeah,
checklist.
yeah. We chat. We like our first date. We went out for Indian food, right? And I obviously, me being Indian, I love Indian food, right? But
Yeah.
I didn't think she would like it. So she came with me, and not only that, like I love spicy food, like food that will like
Me
burn
too.
your
I do
face,
too.
right?
Oh, I do too. I mean, yeah, I love some spice in my
So
food too. I don't like
so
no
she.
bland shit.
So I guess she was just trying to impress me, and she's like, "I'll get spicy too." And I was like,
Oh my god.
me and my waitress looked at each other, and the waitress is Indian, and she looked at me. She's like, can she really do spicy? I was like, look, gauge it, just go for it, whatever. She said she could do it, we could do it, right? My wife was sweating while she was eating. She
Oh
was
my
doing her
god.
best. I was like, "Are
So
you good?"
tearing.
And she was like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm fine." She's tearing. She's
Get the
crying.
milk.
Uh, yeah, I got her like because we eat food with like yogurt, and I was like, "Yeah, can I get a few extra yogurts?" And she was just
That'll help.
like down, yeah, yeah. But like over time, and like we did everything you shouldn't do when we got together, right? So within like a few months, I was moving somewhere, and I was moving because I was moving with my cousin to Trenton, right? And my cousin's
Yeah.
like, "I don't want to move alone." I was like, "I'll move in with you." Because my job was down there anyway. And I asked her, I was like, "Do you mind if my girlfriend lives with me?" Right? And she lived with me for like a brief amount of time. But like, that's when I got to know the nitty gritty of her a lot better. Because now we're
Yeah,
living with each
you
other. I
don't
see.
exactly. You don't know some all of a sudden like yeah, everything is amazing. Like I have a friend that
Yeah.
was in a situation. Her relationship, she was in love. They move in together. Then you find that's how you know. That's how you know. You learn everybody's little move. You can't hide anything when
No.
everything is in one.
Yeah.
Is in one.
It was definitely a crazy thing because like I said, we moved in within 3 months, right? And like I tell we when we tell
Wow.
our
I
story
can
all the
relate.
time, when we tell our story to people all the time, they're like, how hasn't she how wasn't she like a Craigslist killer and like murdered you by now? I was like, you honestly, I don't know.
it,
I do not know. I lucked out,
hey, you were
But
on. The thing is you were on there too.
yeah,
You were on there too. There are other people. We're all on there. Like it's like, yeah, there
You're
are
not
those
a killer
fucking
either.
yeah, there
yeah,
are
yeah,
there are those crazy people. They're everywhere anyway. They're not just on Craigslist
agreed, yeah,
dating apps. They're everywhere. So you can meet your crazy stalker or like killer or in Dunkin' Donuts or at a club. Like
yeah,
it's just you're on there for the same exact reasons.
exactly,
So
yeah. So we lucked out in that sense, and like that's why I'm not totally knocking it,
how long
but
have you guys
but
been together?
So we started dating. So I met her around 2017, early 20,
Oh
like late 2016,
wow,
2017. We got
it's a long
engaged.
time.
We got engaged and married in 2019. We got engaged in
Okay.
2018, married in 2019, It's 2024 now. It's gonna be, what, 6
Oh
years?
my God, jeez, it just
November.
flies. It just flies.
I had a 2 year old daughter. Listen, I told myself I wasn't gonna have kids, right? I was
Yeah, yeah.
I was against this, but
Don't blame you,
no,
but
my main reasoning was mainly because like I have a physical disability, and it scared the
okay.
shit out of me to like have a child, right? Because like growing up for me was tough. And I grew up with tough love because Asian culture, Indian culture, like my parents were rough because they're like, you're already at a disadvantage, so the world is gonna be even harder on you.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
I think
they
yeah,
Mm.
I can
like
feel that.
they beat me down, but they gave me love. Like, there's a lot of people
It'll
I
make
try.
you stronger. There are people that can't take that. That it can't take that. I'm sorry. I'm kind of the believer of like sometimes like I'm a little bit of both. Like
Yeah.
tough love.
No,
Sometimes like it's good for you. It could be if you could take it and then learn from it, and you're like, you know what? That actually like now that like I'm glad that they did that in
yeah,
a
yeah,
sense.
exactly. When you look back
Sometimes,
now, yeah,
sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah, some
Um,
people are a little bit more sensitive and like, man, like, but like some people are like, you know what? I'm glad that my parents were like that. That they were like, that they gave, like, they kind of prepared me for certain things.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I think for my parents, like, like, because like, I mean, I've seen it in certain families where they would call it tough love, but there was never any love. It was just
Yeah,
toughness.
like there's tough love, but then there's tough love. Like there's people that like there's tough love abuse, and abuse
Yeah,
is not tough love. There is tough love, and there is a definition of that where it's like it is actually tough love, but then there's like disguised as, oh, I'm giving you tough love, but it's actually fucking abuse, and that's
yeah,
the
and it's
difference,
just, it's kind of, it triggers like a whole survival thing, but we won't get too deep into that. But I agree with you
Sure.
that
Yeah.
there's like that level of that. So like for me, wait, before I go much further. So first, Teresa says hello, motivation station. So I want to say what's up to Teresa,
What's
and
good,
Megan has
Teresa?
joined us as
Hello,
well. She
Teresa.
said,
Hi, Megan.
"Awesome, this is a really good podcast." Megan, we appreciate the shout out there.
Thank you,
Thank
Megan.
you.
And but yeah, back to our conversation. So like for me, it was, I was just afraid to have a kid to also be handicapped because I was like, my parents, it was tough for them to raise me, and then if I
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
kid, if I have a child who has like, any sort of disability, right, whether it's mental or even physical, like how would I be able to handle it, like especially with the way I wasn't able to, I wouldn't have been able to do it, right? But over the time that I got to know my wife and grow with her and marry her and like just have that love with her, I was like, I want to give it a shot. I do. I want to risk it because it's worth the risk now. Because I have
Yeah,
someone that
I
I
guess
am, you know, truly
you're
and
in love
deeply
You
in
with.
never
love with.
know.
Yeah.
You might
Yeah,
be a
you feel
second
like you
child
could
on the
work at
way.
Yeah.
you're not doing it on your you're not doing it on your own.
Yeah.
Like you have somebody there with you that's there like supporting you. So that obviously makes it would be a way different story if it was like, you have a child, all of a sudden something happens and you're alone with it. No, you have
Yeah.
somebody there with you to work to do it together.
So I'll ask you this question in a second. But for me, right? It was when was my, for me. So I'm gonna ask you, but I'm gonna answer it myself. But the question was, when did you know that your partner was the one, right? So for me, before you answer, for me it was, I was I was down, right? So I was suffering at work. Like I didn't like my job, and like I was being abused at work. I didn't have enough money. I didn't have anything, right? And what my wife did was she didn't, at the time, she was my girlfriend, and that's when I was like, this is the one, and I wanted to propose. But she didn't look at me and like rub me on the back or put me on my feet or anything like that. She didn't say like, you can do this, you'll get better, right? She sat with me in the darkness and in the quiet, and she was like, we'll figure it out together.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
it. She said, we'll figure it. She didn't say you'll figure it out. She didn't say I'll help you figure this out. She said we'll figure
That's
this out
key
And that
together.
ingredient in relationship when it's we, not
Yeah.
yep.
I, not you,
It
it's
becomes
we.
and that's
If you
definitely
hear
reassuring.
that is a red flag.
Yes.
That's a
Yeah.
huge,
100%.
huge
Red
red
flag.
flag.
Get rid
Red
of that
alert.
person.
This
That
Yeah,
person
yeah,
podcast
is not your person.
this podcast
It's
might
yeah.
about
all
we.
be about dating advice at this point, but which is great. This is perfect. But David,
It
if you
could
don't mind
lead.
me asking you, right? For you
Sure,
met
It's all
your
about
husband,
love.
right? You met your husband.
sure.
What
Yeah.
was the point that you're like, this is gonna be my husband? Like, this is my husband.
Okay, the honest truth,
Yeah.
the our first date, our first date, and I'm not
Listen, it could be. I'm not even
our
saying it's
first
not. Yeah.
date.
You feel it
that's
instantly,
not,
right?
okay. It wasn't his look. It wasn't it wasn't, it was something in his soul.
Ah,
And it was something, and I'm not, you can ask Rose and my mother, they were like, Dave will
It's
hook
here.
up with somebody, not know their name. I didn't know their names. I'd be
yeah.
talking to them for months, and I'm like, oh, I'm like, homeboy, nurse guy with mansion, this guy that lives on, a Jersey City boy. Like, I just didn't, like, that's not my personality to be like, oh my God, I met my husband.
Right.
Um, I went on one date with him. I'm a vegetarian. Takes me to, not on anything on his end, not his fault because it was the only place that was open. Takes me to a steakhouse,
Oh.
but nonetheless, I still had the most amazing time. Like, I didn't care about the food. I just instantly, like, he was just
Clicked.
so open. Yeah, we clicked, and I felt like he felt very safe to, explain his life story, like, his
Yeah.
life story. And he slept over my house that night. We were nothing, like, like I said, it was like we were like nothing happened at all. Like, we just cuddled in my bed, and I
Connection.
wasn't supposed connection. I was not supposed to be with anybody. I was moving. I took all my money, all my savings, all my stuff, and I was moving all the way across the country to
Yeah.
Arizona. Okay, so why would I want to even look for any sort of a relationship when I'm trying to start over new and somewhere in a completely different state that's
Yeah.
nowhere around here? Like, I was not something that I was interested in. But meeting him, and that first date, I told my mother, I was like, Mom, I met my husband. And she was just like, yeah. And as I was telling my mom that, he texts me,
Ah.
and he's like, hey, I know you're moving, and like, and he's like, but I would, like, love to hang out with you, before you go. And then I drove to his house and we hung out.
Mhm.
And I already knew before I went to his house that was my husband. But I go there,
Oh,
and yeah, because everything just aligned. We're both Italian and Puerto Rican. We're both Aquarius men, and Aquarius people are extremely complicated, and it kind of takes another Aquarius to kind of get another one, like, to understand each other. We're both extremely, like, horror movie fanatic nerds, and
Nice.
just everything kept the stuff we had in and our personalities. Like, I was like, he's kind of just like me in a way,
Yeah.
And that night, when I left his house, obviously, we spent the entire night together, like, and when I left, I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, I'm moving. I'm like, I'm feeling these feelings. I'm like, I don't know I don't like, I'm like, this isn't supposed to happen. Pardon me. This isn't supposed to
Nah.
happen. I'm like, I'm moving.
Mhm.
I'm moving. What? And I'm like, and I found him. I'm like, I know I found him. So I know this is kind of like, I'm gonna give it a synopsis of a
Yeah.
synopsis in a
A breakdown.
condensed version.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, a breakdown. So I move, like, he's like, where I'm sitting there, and I'm like, we're gonna keep in touch. We're gonna FaceTime. I don't FaceTime. But maybe with Rose we'll FaceTime, like, but I don't FaceTime, like, really. I go, we're gonna FaceTime. We're gonna call each other. He's like, I don't do that. I go, he's like, I don't know. I don't do none of that. I go, oh, you're going to. I'm like, you're going to. And let me tell you something. From the time I got in the car, Arizona,
Mhm.
from it, we would sit on the phone from morning to the night.
Yeah.
From morning to night. He planned a plane ticket before I even got to Arizona to come out and see me. And
That's amazing.
like, that's,
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
one's gonna do that unless that connection is completely authentic. And I'm like, my mom sitting there, she would tell me, she's like, David, nobody's gonna book no plane, like, all the way across. No one's gonna waste a vacation that they have, their money, their hard earned, to come and see somebody that they're not really into. And basically, long story short, he came to Arizona. He was the
Love is
first man.
love.
Yeah, and he was the first person that didn't annoy me. We were together for 2 weeks. He didn't annoy me once, not once. Like it was just there wasn't a time like I didn't mind being around him at all. I wasn't like, oh my god, I'm a type of person where I need my space. Like
Yeah.
I always be like, bro, you need to not talking about my husband, talking about past relationships. I'm like, you need to go find a friend, go find a hobby. I need my space, like But with him, I never felt that. I was like, I could just be with him all the time.
Oh,
It's
Yeah.
beautiful that like those kind of little surprises happen because like even in my relationships, it's like I never had anything like random happen, right? But like when I started dating like my wife, and I was working one time, right? She wasn't really working at the time. I think she was playing like a weird mobile game where like you can make money somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, I
And
know what those. I've heard of
like
this.
those weird games, right? But like she would play them, and then one day I was at work, and security was like, "Come down to the front desk. There's a package for you." I was like, "A package for me? What the heck?" So I go downstairs, and I'm waiting for like a package, like a box, like a laptop, phone, because I work in IT, right? And
Yeah.
at the desk there's like a edible arrangements, the ones that you get
Oh,
like
I love
a fruit,
those.
right?
Tear,
So
ooh,
I'm
I'll
I
sitting
used
there,
to work
tear
that.
those,
and I see that there, and I'm
tear
like,
that shit
okay.
up.
I saw it there. I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, okay, so where's my package? And they're like, it's right there. I was like, what, this? And they're like, yeah. I was like, for me? And they're like,
That's
yeah.
my
So
favorite job.
then I
Yeah,
took
I
it
love that.
upstairs. I brought it to my desk, and people are like, "Who sent you this?" I was like, "I don't know." I was like, like I don't think my parents would or anything." And then like my wife kept like texting me like the little gifts of like he, and I was like, "Oh, did you
Yeah.
did you do this?" And like I was shocked because I was like, "There's no reason for her to have gotten me any sort of
Those
food gift or anything."
gestures, those,
But yeah, the
yeah, that
gesture
means a
went
lot.
really far,
That's
and like
probably her love language.
yeah,
Like, probably her love language is like
gifting. Yeah, it is.
Giving.
gift
Yeah,
giving. My
giving.
husband doesn't. My husband's is kind of like he doesn't. His is definitely not. He doesn't care about
But
gifts and
here's
shit
the
like
thing:
that. But he
there's
has all
stuff,
the other ones.
there's stuff that we'll do, right? And it's not really a compromise, but you'll find yourself doing stuff that you didn't like doing before, but since now it's
Yeah.
with the right person, it changes
Yeah.
everything.
Yes,
You know?
you
Yeah.
want to do everything for the right person.
Yeah.
You want to cook for them. You want to clean for them.
Yeah,
You want to you want to
So
go beyond and above.
yeah,
so I moved. I was in Arizona. It did not last. It did not last. My car broke down. I was like, you know what? This is all a sign. I was like, I didn't. Even if the car didn't break down, I wasn't staying. I wasn't staying. So that was just a perfect excuse.
hmm
I was like, it was a perfect excuse because I didn't want to be there anymore anyway. I wanted to come and be with him. You said you moved in with your wife after a few months. We moved in together after 4 months of knowing each other.
yeah,
And it just, we, slowly, hey, was everything perfect? No, not on my end, definitely not on his end. We had to kind of, and we're two guys, we have to kind of, you know, Rose was saying something earlier before about the whole I thing, and that's a red flag.
yeah,
And there's certain things where it's like, you are not alone anymore. You are now in a relationship, and trust me, I could do the I thing all day. That's, but not when you find somebody that you're in love with and that you want to spend. Then you can't do the things that you were doing and just think that, no, you have to think about how the other person's going to feel and react,
right,
and and what they're going to think about this, because
right,
that's exactly what I'm like. Okay, like I would be ripping and running, going here, going there, going out, getting ready, going out with my girls, going to nightclubs, and I stopped. I have not even been to, like, unless it was like, unless it's with him, but I have not done any of that, because I mean, not that I can't, but it's just that's something I did more when I was in my and I
single
never
time
want
period, kinda,
my single time.
You're single time.
I always just wanted to stay single. I never wanted a relationship.
yeah,
I did not want that. That was never something I strived for. That wasn't something I literally was kind of against it. I was like, no, like I'm like, why are you? I'm like, don't get too attached, because it's pointless,
yeah.
But then you find that
Then you find that missing puzzle piece, and it changes everything. Nope, I totally
yeah,
get it. That was like me talking about I didn't want to family. I didn't want a kid or anything,
Yep.
and like
Yeah.
here I am now.
It just
But
changes when it just changes.
it definitely I like your mentality. It definitely changes that, like, you don't think about me anymore. You think about us, like the things we do
Yeah.
together. I'm sure
It's
you
a key
guys also.
ingredient.
I'm sure you
Yeah.
guys
Key
also
ingredient
find
for love.
the you find the time that you do need time to yourself, no matter what. Like I
Oh,
think because
absolutely.
there's always that
Absolutely.
time you need to kind of self reflect or self growth.
Especially as an oh, okay.
Yeah,
Especially as an I'm an Aquarius, and we like we our thing is freedom, you know. But the one good thing about him is he's just like me, so it's like we we don't like overbear, like we're not overbearing on each other, and you know, and the thing is like we were talking about like the connections, and sometimes it's like it goes even further than that, because my relationships with my friends are kind of not as important, because my husband is my family,
of course,
but with your friends, I look at that. That is very important to me. If I
of
consider
course.
you a friend, I don't mean to sound cocky, but I am extremely picky on who I invite into my life, into my brain, into my my whole thing, to get to
Energy.
know
Your space.
energy. It has to be, and I'll know right away. Kind of like there's been like with me and Rose, initially, like we worked together, I met her, and we liked each other at first. Like I remember she was very nice. She would be like, she would see me drinking these nasty energy drinks, and she's like, no, 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 don't drink those. Don't, those are bad for you. Those are terrible for you. I'm gonna come and I'm gonna bring you these really good ones. And I'm like, she came with a packet of them. And I was like, how much do you? I was like, oh, how much money? I'm like, she's like, no, 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 it's a gift for me and you. But this is before we got close. But then, like, Rose would, I was like, I don't know if we had like a little clique, a little like me, her, and this. We had like a little trifecta, me, her, and this other girl, Terry. And me and Terry would be like, this bitch thinks she runs the place. She thinks her shit. She was like, she runs this whole place. She just does whatever she wants. And me and Terry were like, I don't know about this bitch. But initially, we were like, she was very sweet and
They were
nice to us.
haters.
We were hating. But all of a sudden, one day, Rose came in, and like she saw how much I took my job so serious, and she was just like, she was just there. She was very, very good. She was very, very good and very, very quick. But she saw how much I had to bring. Like I had we were in the same department, but I had a different job. I had to organize a million different orders to be put out, to be sent out. And she would see how stressed out I would get. And she came in one day and she like kind of like helped me and saved me. And I was like, I was like, this girl, I was like, you know what? I was like, I was like, I was wrong. I was like, I misjudged her. And I was like, I was like, you know what? She's just like a cool, like, this was like, she's changed. Rose is a little bit much different now, because she's like, hey, this was 5 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And,
Evaluation happened.
yeah,
Evolution.
5 years ago. So Rose was more of like a hippie partier. Like she was a partier, but like the chill partier, not like a not like messy like that, like very together. And I was like, this girl's just a cool chick that like likes to chill, lay back. And me and her went to lunch together, and I was like, I was like, I was wrong. I liked her. And then I told my friend Terry, I go, Terry, no, 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 no. I was like, just trust me. I was like, you're going to love her. Just open your mind and then they became very, very close.
Right.
And we all used to we would go to lunch together. We would go to Terry's house on her day off, and we would just and Rose always like I admired that
Thank you.
she always stood up for what she didn't take no shit and no disrespect. It didn't matter how much money was getting thrown at her. If she was disrespected, she was like, no, I'm doing so much for you guys, this company. She was being lied on because I was right there and I knew the truth. She'd be like, nope. And I respected that she didn't take no shit and no disrespect. And she was like, nope, this ain't working out. I'm going to go and do my own thing. She was like, it doesn't matter. I got what I needed out of this. And, and ever since then, we've been like, like best friends. It's like a sister to me.
Right.
So, even
Thank you.
both of us moving, we both are always moving, always. We were at dinner one time. We were at the buffet, the Chinese buffet, and I go, Rose, let's count how many times me and you moved over the past 10 years. It was, I'm not going to I'm not going to say the amount because it's
I'll say it. Now
astronomical.
it's about 30 times.
Okay, so
Oh
she
my
was
God.
now it's even more because this conversation was like 2 to 3 years ago, and it's about to be more too on my end. But I think me and her were both at. I think I was at like
It's the
23 or
same amount.
22. It
Yes.
was the same amount. We
25.
moved 20 fucking something times in 10 years, and that's why we kind of could get comfortable. We're like, all right, we're here, we're good because we're so used to just having to move around and be not chameleon isn't the right word, just like more of like adjust. We could adjust anywhere.
Just blend in. Yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
whenever you
Yes.
guys meet new people, you guys can say, you're well traversed. You've traveled far and wide, and you
yes,
discovered
Thank
far
you
things.
so
wide
much
and
for the yes. Thank you so much for the kind words. What I want to add
of
here
course.
that uh, David knows how to connect. Okay,
Thank
and
you.
we connected in a very different levels. We connected in astrology level, in energy level. I always bring out the best in person. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see what the person is capable of and I bring that out. Okay. I bring out best of Sanjay and here we are. I bring out best on David. David is a brilliant perfume maker. I cannot wait for
yeah.
you to have your own line.
Me
He has
too.
nearly a huge, enormous collection of colognes, and he
My
can
husband's like,
create.
they can't. Where are you putting all of them? They can't fit there
He
anymore.
he can create. He can take this note, that note, this, put it together, and be like, "Here, I have a brand new note, brand new
Yup. They're like,
cologne.
what are you wearing? I go, you're gonna have to
What
buy
are
like
you?
four.
When are you coming out with your own collection? Because we need it. We
I
need
know.
it. The
I mean,
world needs
unfortunately,
your nose. He has a great
I
nose.
yes, I'm very good at putting like I know like I'm like, oh, this scent will go good with this, and everyone's like, oh, what are you wearing? I'm wearing like three, but it's not overbearing.
Cocktail.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's not overbearing. It's like one of this here and the pulses. I met some lady that I was so she's an amazing woman that I still talk to. Her name is Lisa. We met at the Walmart in Howell when I was transferred, and she taught me about the pulses. You put the different fragrances on the pulses on the like where the blood pumps, and I would just put like 1 cent there mix, 1 cent here mix. And Rose is like, oh, she would always like it, but unfortunately, I just that's kind of outside of the realm of anything going on with me now. Like that, like one day, I know, I was when I since I was a little kid, I was born. I know something was big was gonna happen for me. It hasn't happened yet, but I still know it. I
It
know it
will.
since I'm a little kid. I know
Yeah.
it will. And I'm like, and unfortunately, I am getting a little impatient. But I'm like, what else am I supposed to do? Like certain things that it's just but I still know it. And all these people that I look up to and that I watch, they have had that same feeling.
Right.
Like they knew success was good. Like and what I mean, all I mean by success is something that will make my a living for myself. I don't want anything. I don't need to be I don't need to be extravagantly rich. I don't need to have a big house, big mansion. That would be very nice, and I wouldn't mind it. But that's not what I'm looking for. Success for me is me doing something that I love, that is bringing in income, that could
Value
sustain my lifestyle
to the
value,
world.
and that yes, like that's another thing is like what I really
Making
want to do
difference.
is help, like yeah, like the cologne thing, that's all like something that I just have a little like talent knack for, but really what I really want to do is help people.
Mm.
Like I always tell me and Rose, we always talk about this. I'm like, all I want to do is help
Make
people.
difference.
make a difference in young gay men, or it doesn't have to be gay. It could be anybody. It could be, but younger people. Like I have a friend named Melanie. I have to send you the pictures, Rose. They're so beautiful. We went out to the city, and I was like, you know what? I was like, listen, she wanted to drink. That's it. I go, what you're gonna do is you're gonna drink. I taught her. I was like, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna have 3 drinks for the night. Nice, strong. You stretch them out. She drank so responsibly. She, drank very slow, and she did not get hung over. I made sure she was taken care of because nobody did that for me. I did not know how to drink. Well, I
Right.
would be, I was like, oh, this, mixing this, oh, this, and it's like, you don't do that. I wish I had somebody to kind of guide me. She's 21, I'm 33. She had the most amazing night. We had some, hiccups, like we couldn't find that great, place, but like we went around and we went around the city, and it was about the company. It didn't
Right.
matter where we were.
Right.
We couldn't have had, it was about, I was with my husband, I was with one of my sisters, and pardon me, she was with a guy. She was like, I'm meeting this guy. I'm so nervous. And I said to her, I said, if the energy is right, I said, if you feel comfortable, it's going to be fine. She was so
Connection.
nervous. Like he was pulling up, and they met online. Some guy, like he's very successful. And, I'm not going to lie, like she's an 11, and looks are really, you can, if you're a funny guy, if you're funny and charismatic, that will bring you such a longer further way than just this like hot, like Buffy, like hot guy. Like I would much rather be with the funny, goofy, like guy that makes me laugh than
Personality is key.
the sexy, than that. I'm like, okay, pretty is, sexy is, and pretty is as it does. What does
Right.
it do? It did nothing. So, you know, and I told her, I was like, if it's not working, well, I'll know right away. I'll know right away. You'll know right away, and I'll get you out of that situation like this. But she clicked with him, and she was like, David, I think I want to go and hang out with him, and like I'm gonna tell my mom I'm gonna spend the weekend at your house. And I'm like, okay, her mom knows me because I worked with her, and I was like, all right, like you know what you're doing, just be safe, smart girl. She's not an idiot. She's not gonna, So I trusted her to go with this guy and say she was at my house. Was I a little worried? Yes, but she FaceTimed me, gave me the address she was at, FaceTiming, make sure it was okay, and she ended up hitting it off with him, and who knows what's gonna happen down the line, but
It's in
it's
her hands
that
now at that point.
it's
Yeah.
in her hands, but it could have went either way. It's
Yeah.
about the connection.
Yeah. No,
The
absolutely.
connection.
I agree that. Well, first things first. The first thing I want to say is I think you yourself you're a fantastic character, right? I think
Thank
you
you.
you have a good soul, right?
Thank
It's
you.
it's not said as often as it should be to people, but people who have good souls always radiate, and you show that radiation. But
Thank you.
also that you're like, I like what you said, that people think of success in different ways, right? Some people want to be wealthy, some people want to have a big lavish life, cars, women,
Yeah.
whatever, right? That's fine because it's not for everyone. Everyone is entitled to whatever they want to do, but the fact that you're like,
Exactly.
but the fact that you are still noble and you still held humility, and you're just like, I just want to have, I just want to be comfortable, and I want to be able to
Yeah.
help others. I think
Yeah.
that's more important than anything. And not everybody thinks that way,
Thank
so it's
you.
beautiful to see somebody else who has that mentality.
Yeah.
So I thank you for that. But I also appreciate that you look out for people, and like I see a lot of myself
I
in you.
try.
You know,
Yeah, I
like
try.
I know you and I will sit here and we'll both say we're not perfect. We're not even anywhere near perfect, right? But we know in a second that if somebody was struggling that we knew, like a friend,
Yeah,
family, somebody that we
in a
would look out
heartbeat.
for, in a heartbeat, we would be there.
In a
Not
heartbeat.
not
Even
not
if
even
I
a
had,
second thought. You know?
yeah, even if I have like, and I was telling my husband this yesterday. I go, if somebody is kind to me, that you're going to get total respect. I'm going to be kind to you. And this is unfortunate. It's something I have to work on a little bit, but once you like take my kindness for weakness, and then you use me, and you're like, oh, like you, I can't do anything for you anymore. You're not going to get it. You're not, it's not, I will give you a chance, but if you keep doing it, I can't do anything for you anymore. It's, I have to I have to remove that energy from my life because
Yeah.
I already have my own demons and my own battles that
Yep.
go on with myself. So when I'm sitting there trying to help other people and be there for other people, and all they're doing is take, 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 not, and you don't have to give me anything, just some respect,
Yeah.
just some respect, and you know that's it. But once that is done, or once there's been the line has been crossed, I can't really do anything for you anymore. Then my whole outlook towards you, it could be fixed. Like
Hmm.
I would there is never a definite, like, if you, there's nobody that's dead to me, unless you really like mess with like my family, my money, or my husband.
Hmm.
That's the only three things that'll be hard to come back from. Anything else, as long as you come to me and own it, and even like for example, me and Rose, not really many times, but we're not friends because we agree on everything. That's so
Right.
boring.
Yeah.
Imagine, oh, your friend, they just agree with you on everything. No, you need somebody to be like, well, what about this point of view? And what about
Exactly.
that point of view? And you might not agree, but I don't care if I agree with you or not. It doesn't mean I'm not going to be your friend. It just means we don't agree on that. We just don't agree on that topic, and that's
That
fine.
that
And I
is a
love
hundred
that.
percent. Yeah, that is a hundred
That's a
percent true
guidance. We
because
grow from it.
it is true that we cannot agree on everything, and that's perfectly fine, right? But that
How
doesn't mean.
boring would life be if
But see,
everyone just agreed?
the thing with that is like even if you don't agree on everything, right? That doesn't mean just because when you don't agree, that person becomes your enemy. That's the
Yeah.
danger of what's happening
But
now.
some people, exactly. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes.
No, you're right. So some people will think that way, like, not to get political or anything like that, right? But we had like Donald Trump and then Kamala Harris, right? So I have
Yeah.
people who supported one, I had people who supported
Oh,
other,
they'll stop
but
being friends.
for no reason do I have to not be friends with either party or anything like that. Oh, you voted this way, I'm not gonna be your friend. Like I don't care the
Yeah,
way you
that's
think.
that's
Like
stupid as hell.
we unfortunately live in parts of the age where people will think that way, and
Yeah, they do.
I'm gonna say something that will be kind of weird, but sometimes the best help is not helping at all, right? So if you're in a situation where you cannot help, do not help.
Yep, I
Because
100% agree with
if you
that.
try, you end up burning them, you end up burning
Yep.
yourself, and you could burn that connection that you had. So there's
Yeah.
times where I've had friends who I had a really good friend, best friend of mine, right? He traveled without telling anybody, right? He just kind of went off and did his own thing, right? And I didn't get upset at him because I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna yell at him to come back home. I'm not gonna yell at him. Why did you go? I'm like, you know what? You need to go find your own adventure. You need to go
Mhm.
explore your life. Go figure it out, and then come back home, right? And
Yeah.
I had a
Let him
feeling one
be.
day he'll come back home, but I didn't think much of it, right? And I don't think he thought much of it either. But it was funny because when I did see him, it was weird, right? So he was traveling abroad, like third world countries and stuff like that, and he was out there for a while. He left on his birthday, and he came back like months later. And I was at a point that I was quitting a job because I just had it with a job. They treated me like crap, and I was a lot more stressed than I should be for a job. And I'm sitting there, and
Yeah.
this is at Panera in like Woodbridge. I'm just chilling. I'm actually talking to my ex boss because he said let's meet up, because he wanted to clean the air between us, and we did, right?
Yeah, that's
As
nice.
as I'm sitting there, I see a person walk in, right, and it's my friend who should have
Oh
been abroad,
wow.
and he didn't notice me, but I watched him walk in, and dude, I thought I was in a dream. I was like, "You're not supposed to be here. What the hell is
Sometimes that
this?"
happens.
He was walking in. He had a
That's
bag with
life.
like Gundam stuff, which is like like robots and stuff like that you build. And he walks in, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, "What just happened?" Oh, Rose, we lost you. I'm gonna tell the story anyway. But
You're
so
good. Yeah, I'm
so
listening.
oh, she's back.
There she is.
Okay, so like he walks in, and I'm like, his name is Sid. I'm like, Sid, and he looks at me. He's like, oh hey buddy. He didn't know that I didn't know he was back, and he didn't know that like how much of an impact that I had. That when I saw him, I started crying, And like I couldn't control it because like I missed him that much, and I was like, I don't know when you're
Aw.
coming back, but I was just happy
Yeah.
that he was back, and he was just like, like I don't understand, like why are you crying? I was like, dude, you just left, dude. Like you didn't even say bye, you didn't
Yeah.
do anything, right? But I was like, I
Sounds
gave
like
you,
something I would do.
yeah,
That
I
sounds
was
like
like, dude,
something I would do.
dude, I gave you your space because I felt like you needed it, you know. But sometimes, like,
Mm.
just me and him, we always try to be there for each other. But at times, we're like, you know what, let's not do that. Sometimes we just have to go on our own adventure and find
Yeah.
ourselves. And he did. He
Yeah.
went out there. He came back, and now we're good. You know, he came back home, and now we're happy. But sometimes it's important to know that, like, I think it's insulting that like sometimes if you give help to somebody, like somebody comes for you for advice, for example, right? They come to you for advice, you give them like wholehearted advice. You give them advice from your soul, right? And they listen to you and they're like, that's good advice. And then they don't listen at all, right? I'm like, that's
Yeah,
a
of
little bit
course.
like effed
They
up, you
have
know?
to
Like,
learn. They
I
have to
gave you some
learn.
effort. Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, you know what? Back then I
Give them
used
a
to take
space
it.
to grow.
And then you're like, and then what you said, and then exactly what you said,
Yeah.
that ends up happening to them. And then it's like, you don't want to be like, oh, I told
I
you
told, yeah,
so.
yeah,
Like we
yeah.
all, and
I
that's
had
such
to.
a good, we all want to say it,
Yeah,
I told
I
you
had to
so.
outgrow that part because like even when I gave him advice, I would tell him like this is what's gonna happen and it would happen. I taught myself not to be that way, right? And through
Yeah,
that, I think all of us here safely can say that we all grew from situations like that. Because even though like not that we can predict the future, but we might have a better idea of how things will work out. Sometimes people need to go through that lesson themselves, and that's the help
absolutely.
that you can give them that
Yep.
you won't you're
That's
not
like
giving some.
yeah,
Yeah.
my family like I have a lot of people like my grandpa, like he was literally supporting me, and he's sitting there and he's like, David, like he literally cut me off, and he's like, if I keep like he's like, no, you need to do, like, I can't keep helping you because you're never gonna, you have me to do everything for you,
Right.
like, and when certain people see you doing things on your own, and then all of a sudden then they come back seeing how far you've come, and then there they are, like, okay, and then they help again.
Exactly.
I was gonna basically, when it comes to, like, your friends or your family and the ones you're close to, I have learned that I have to accept their what I love about them, why I love them, and why I became friends with them. There's that, but even their negative qualities, I have to learn to love those too,
You have to love them as
because
a whole. You gotta love them as a whole.
exactly, like, I'm
Yeah.
like, because that's the problem with things. People want you to be perfect. They want you to be the version that they love, that they fell in love with, the version that they became friend. No, we're very complex. Humans are very complex
Very
people,
complex. Yeah.
so you have to love them for their negative traits too,
The
and
good, the bad, the ugly, everything.
unless it's abusive. If it's abusive, no. Then you and toxic, no. Then you're like, all right, I need you need to go figure that shit out. And then, but if someone just has, little things that that you have to learn to love that too.
Yeah.
That's same, like, that's how, like, with my friendships, it's like I see them like going off the deep end, and I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, okay, I could just sit and watch and try to help. I know really nothing I say or do is going to, but it's not going to make me judge them or love them, or cut them off. Like, I'm just going to be like, I know this already. I know that how they are. Like,
Right.
I know the good. Like, anybody that I'm close with, I could count on one hand,
Yeah.
and I love everything great and everything negative about all of them. It doesn't matter,
The
you
beauty
know.
of like the beau-
Accepting people for who they are.
but
One of the key
Yeah.
the beauty
ingredients
of
in
that part
friendship.
is also, and it comes both with love with your family and friends and even your husband or your wives or whoever, right? Is communication, because that's one thing
Yeah.
people seem to lack to do. Like
Oh yeah.
don't get
Oh yeah.
lost in your own thoughts. Don't get lost of this is what I think they'll say. This is what I think they'll feel. Right? No, express it. Put it out in words. Say it out loud, because
Yeah.
sometimes you don't know how much of a difference that makes. And the right people that do love you, they'll understand you. You know,
Yes.
and yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. There's gonna be points that you guys won't compromise. You guys won't come to an agreement. and you'll have disagreements, and there's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make the person the enemy, right? But then there's other
No,
times that there is compromise. There is a balance, right? They'll work it out with you. They'll work on, maybe bad habits, right? For example, even like small things. I had friends who were smoking, and were like, "You shouldn't smoke. You shouldn't smoke," and like he would always smoke,
smoking what? Like smoking weed?
like cigarettes.
Oh, cigarettes. Yeah, I smoked. I
Yeah, I don't.
quit. I
I
finally.
smoke. Yeah,
I mean, I still got my little. I still got my little nicotine, but
nah, you're
I
good.
smoked
You're
for
good.
for 20 years.
But what I what
But
what I mean is like he
uh,
slowed down. Like he was smoking like 2 packs a day. Like my guy was
oh,
crazy.
that's a
But then like
lot and expensive.
he got into a relationship. He started taking care of like a step kid, right? And he started to
Oh
understand what
yeah,
it means to be around. Because we're like, yo, you don't take care of your health, you're not gonna be around to see any of this.
Yeah.
yeah,
You know.
no,
And even for
yeah,
me, same story. Like I'm actually diabetic, and I didn't really care. Like I can take medicine and stuff like that to a point, and like I could stay just like kind of riding the line of living. But then like it was until I had my kid that I was like, no, I gotta find a way to make it in the long run. I want to
yes,
watch my kid grow up. Like how
yeah,
lucky would I be to have a kid that has a kid, and then that would be my granddaughter, or a
yeah,
grandchild.
yeah,
I think that'd be absolutely amazing. So it's like these little things that happen, and I'm compromising in my family. That like, look, like I love pizza, I love donuts, I love chocolate. But it's like, you know what?
oh yeah.
Take a step back, be a little
Same
bit
cake.
healthier. Cake, of course, I love cake. But it's like, when
I
you
was
look
on a
at it,
cake addiction.
when you look at it from like a different point of view, especially outside of your own point of view and a bigger picture, you're like, you know what, you want to be around. Like cake will always be there.
Yeah,
If you think about it, cake will always be there, but you might
yeah,
not
sure
be.
will. Yeah,
So like
yeah,
that's the part that you're like, let me do this. But like back to like the topic of like love. I agree. Love is love, right? Love is love, and I think it's a beautiful thing. And look, I have nothing against man and woman, man and man, woman and woman. It does not matter to me as long as
yeah,
it's
be-
genuine. That's all
yeah.
I care about.
I could have. My soulmate could have been anybody. Like
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
look at
exactly.
it like, and it's very hard for people to comprehend. Like my soulmate could have been anybody. I never like. Ultimately, what my attraction is, like I'm attracted to anything like beautiful and beautiful in here.
Yeah,
So
soulmate.
if I met a girl and they had all those things, then and I'm like, oh my god, this is my soulmate. I would end up with her. And
Right.
people find it, they're like, oh no, you're either this way or that way. And it's very, I don't like to be put in a box, and I never did. And
Yes.
I don't have any people that are like, I'm not friends with anybody that is quote unquote gay. I say that word because that's what the label is that people
Yeah,
know,
we're
and
not
that
saying
people
it
are
in any derogatory
and
way.
people
Yeah.
no, but the thing is like I really identify with it because that is just man and man. I'm not just like I'm not just attracted to men. Like I'm
Right.
attracted to anything beautiful.
Yeah.
So but the thing is what was I going to say? Um basically this is, how I don't have I've never been friends with gay people in my life. Rose knows this. I've never had that. And I'm 33 years old and I've been through that whole been through the scene, like I've tried. I feel like I have nothing in common with them. Like, what besides we both like to be with another man. That's not enough.
Yeah. No,
And
I think I understand where you're coming from when it comes to that, and I agree with you. So, like, I have friends who are gay. I have friends who are lesbian. I have friends who are
yeah,
trans
I
and going
wish.
through. And
Yeah.
like the thing here's the thing, I don't mind it, right? So if you're genuinely that, like if you have love, if you're a
Connecting
man,
to the soul,
if
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, well,
exactly. Who cares what
not the
anybody
but
else?
like
facade.
for
Who
for
cares
me,
what anybody else does? Like,
the
or how they live?
what hits me the most is like, don't do it for the stigma. Don't do it for like the standing of like, I'm gonna be gay because I want to stand up for like
Because
the
it's
gay
There
community,
trendy.
are those.
or
There
yeah,
are those. Yeah, that are like they sit there and like, like they're like, oh, I thought I was, but now I'm not. No, 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 no. That's not how this works. You don't choose this. You don't choose this. You know this from when I've known that I've been attracted to men since I am a little boy. Like I would go up to like, like I would have little crushes and we would kiss in like preschool, like in like those little like playground things when I was like 7 years old. And I would tell my mom too. I'm like, oh, I went up to Joey or whatever. And I was like, and I kissed him. And my mom's like, oh, they all knew. Like, I had a really traumatic coming out thing. Like, I didn't get to just sit there and, like, tell my family. Like, they found out through going on, because, like we said, you were saying earlier, we come from the
Yeah.
instant aim. Yeah, so that's what I had, and I'm pretending I'm older. I was pretending I was like 16, 17, so I could, but I was really like in middle school, and I'm meeting up with these guys. Like, I don't know how old they were, but I didn't give a shit. I was just trying to experiment. And my family went, like my stepdad went on and saw,
Like
like
the message,
saw
yeah.
the
Yeah.
messages, the emails, and so this is, there's some people, they think, oh, like this is a choice. Maybe for some people, it's a choice, but a lot of the people that I've talked to, I have known this since I am like, I remember like watching a movie when I was like 6, and I'm like, oh, that guy has such beautiful eyes, and my aunt would be like, you're not supposed to say that about no man. Like, you don't
Yeah.
say no man has no beautiful eyes. And I'm like, and I turn and
Yeah.
I'm like, and I go, well, I think he does. Like, I'm like, that's what I think. And it
we
is what
we
it
we,
is.
we come because like it was more like our age, our generation that started to explore that side of like sexuality and love and stuff like that more, right? So
Yeah.
I don't think it's like I agree that I don't think like it's a gray area for me, and that's why I don't want to stand on one side or the other. The only thing
Yeah.
I'll
Well, because
say.
you're a straight man,
No,
like,
not even that. I'll go around. I'll say guys have nice eyes. I have no problem with that. I'll go up
but
to a guy and be like,
that's like, you're confident in who you are. And
That's
that's
part of
why.
it, but also I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Even like I don't
Yeah.
have to say it as a gay man. I don't have to talk to
Love is
someone.
love.
Yeah.
For me, it's just expression. If
Yeah.
if I see a guy wearing some like a nice like shirt, I'm like, yo, that's a cool ass shirt. It looks great on you and stuff
Yeah,
like
but
that.
there's
Yeah.
very insecure men that would be like,
No, but that's the
"That's
thing.
some
So
no fucking no homo. That's
no,
some
no, no.
you
So
some
that's
gay
that
shit."
that's the other. That's the other end of the
Fucking kill
place.
me.
That's the other end of the place that exists, right? But here's
That's
the thing with that,
pathetic.
right? People can have their opinions, right? But the best you can do is just handle it the way you're gonna handle it, right? So if
Oh yeah,
you don't like those type of people, that's fine. And those people don't like you, that's even more fine. Because
I've
then
never
what that
dealt with
means,
that. Like,
no, no.
I've
But
never
what
dealt with it. People know better. Like,
yeah,
I'm not
no,
the, I wasn't the one.
no, but in general, and the thing is, in life, it's gonna happen regardless, no matter what.
Yeah, behind my back.
But and let that be. No one gives a shit.
No, no,
Uh,
I don't.
but the biggest thing is like for me, I mean, it's definitely doing it at a young age it has its own dangers and shit like that. But whatever, you're here now, so we're talking about the future. But like I don't
Oh,
know if
anything
it's
could have anything could have happened.
it's
That's
like
why
me.
my
It's like me
yeah
meeting my wife on Craigslist. Anything could have fucking happened.
yeah
But
yeah.
like
They took my computer. They took
even
my
in my
computer away.
even in the age we are now, like like people are still discovering themselves, and I find nothing wrong with that, right? But do it because you want to do it for you. Don't do
Yeah.
it because you're like, okay, like, there's that stigma. Like, there's people who I've seen in like the activist groups that are just like, I'm trans because of this and that and rights and stuff like
Oh,
that. But I'm
I'm
like,
freaking.
I'm
But
like,
they're
just
really
look.
not.
I'm
They're
like,
really
look, no,
not.
no, I'm not saying you are or aren't. But what I'm saying is like, if you wanna like love other men, do it. Who cares? Just do it. Do it for you. Don't do it because you need your
Be
parents' approval.
yourself.
Don't do it
Yeah.
because you need to go on a podcast and say it so then the world can know. No, this has nothing to do with
Yeah,
that shit.
for
Like
attention.
me bringing you onto our podcast now was to learn your story, to learn about you, your husband, and how you
Yeah.
guys came together, right? The fact
Yeah.
that you want to label yourself as gay, yeah, you don't, no, that's fine too. It doesn't matter. You're here because I want to hear your story about your expression, about your gratitude of loving
Yeah.
yourself, loving your husband, and having that care there. What the world is doing outside of your world that you have in front of you, fuck that. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
No,
really
it
does.
doesn't.
You
Because
know?
it's got. We're gonna like. I'm gonna live my life anyway, and
Exactly.
that's
Yeah.
what I've been doing for 33 years. I told people the truth when I was 13 years old, and I never had an issue. I never was picked on. I never had a. I was because I was always myself. So what were
Yeah.
people gonna call? What were people gonna do? And if they did, they would do it behind my back, and then they would get beat up.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
never, since I'm 13 years old, like, I just told all my friends, they were so accepting. The guys, like, never cared. I was
No.
still like, and I had an amazing, what's the word I'm looking for? When you're not childhood is not different. Like your teen years to your young adult.
You like your
Like my
adolescent?
young,
Yeah.
yeah, my adolescence. I had the most incredible memories.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't ask for anything. And I saw the other end of it of like guys getting picked on. I'm sorry, like I can't save you. Like you have to stick up for yourself and be yourself and look at what I'm doing. I have no issues. I'm sitting there and I'm hanging out with these people that are me. They wouldn't how do I say this? Like they wouldn't they would just kind of, it would just be like closeted men that
Right.
it was so obvious. It was so obvious, and they'd be like, no, I'm straight, and I'm okay. I can't stick up for you if you're not being honest.
Yeah.
If you're being honest, then I can stick up for you. If
Right.
you're not,
But
Yes.
you
like
gotta learn.
you said it yourself. Like the ones that like truly care, like they like the ones that care about you, they don't care that you
No.
were like that at all, you know? And there's a quote to that. I don't know where I pull these quotes out of, but I read a quote and it's like those who matter will care, right? And those who don't care don't matter. That's
Yeah.
it. It's as simple. It's
Agreed.
as simple as that, you know.
Yeah.
So you could live your life, you could do your thing, and that's all I try to tell people. And like you said, you might have friends, you might not that, like men, like women, and stuff like that, right? But you don't look at it that way. You just look at it as love whoever you want. Like you're my friend because you're my friend. That's it. It doesn't matter what the what
Yeah.
you do or are. You're just my friend. And
Sure.
for me, like I know like my friends label themselves that way, and I'm like, go ahead, like label yourself whatever you want, but don't do it for the label. Do it
It's
because
because they
you're that
have,
way. You
yeah.
love it.
It's it's because the label thing is labels, not even just that, but any type of label is to make people comfortable. Is to be like, okay, they know what to identify. That's what a label is. When no matter
Yeah.
on anything,
Yeah,
on
no,
a
I
car,
agree.
on a car, on a thing. It's just it's just so people could. That's what they understand.
Yeah, yeah. No,
And some people
that's how I
still
mean it.
don't.
Yeah, no, that's how I mean it. Not like, oh, that's gay. That's like, no, not like that. But basically, like a love, like, man to man, woman to woman is called this and that. That's all I mean by that. And you're right. It's just a safe space for, like, a safer way of
Yeah,
saying it.
people.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they need the, like, and I always hated that. I always hated being put in a box, and and maybe that's why I don't have any gay friends, because maybe I don't have anything in common with them. Like I'll sit there and like, me and my, like, we barely, like, we'll go to like a gay bar or whatever, and it's like I I
But see,
try,
like,
like,
that goes back to like what I was talking about. Because I think if you truly met like a gay person, you wouldn't even know per se that they're gay. Because like you would just talk to
depending,
them. You would just talk to them.
unless they're like,
I know, but like you would just talk to them in certain things, like like Rose was saying that you're into like fragrances and stuff like that. And if you met
yeah,
someone talking about fragrances, like that would be the butt of your conversation. Not that you like men and they like men, like that, like that's not the
yeah.
conversation that should be had with
But
gay
the
friends
thing
per
is
se.
though, sometimes pardon, it would be nice to have another person that could understand, like, there's girls that they have each other to understand what
Yeah.
they go through, and it would be nice to have that, like, another friend that's kind of like that,
Well,
lives the same. It would be nice,
without a doubt, though, there are people out there, man, and like I'm sure like the experiences you had
one
probably.
day maybe.
The experience you probably had didn't lead to that direction or anything like that, but I promise you, I know there's good people out there that like you guys would just have good conversations, right? And
Yeah.
that's all that's about, right? But if there was a times where you want to talk about love or expression or things like that with someone who identifies as gay or
Yeah,
lesbian or
like
anything
certain,
like that,
yeah,
the people like
it
that
would be
exist, man.
nice.
I promise you. But like looking on the surface, going to like a gay
They're
club, for
haters.
example,
Like, I just get
like a gay
haters.
club. No, but going to like a gay
Honest.
club, for example, is like the equivalent of like going on dating apps. You're just looking at everything on the surface. you know.
Well, I go if I'm going to like I'm honestly just going to dance and
That
have a
too,
good
yeah, yeah.
time. Like
But
I'm
the
just going to like set like if I like and I'm always I'm very I like every I'm a very easy person to like
to talk to,
people
yeah,
meet
get
me
along,
and they
yeah,
just fucking tell me their entire life story and like so I guess because I'm not gonna sit there and I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about me. I don't know like if it's just like I've just open like just go ahead. I don't I'm like even strangers and like that's how sometimes I've met my friends is
yeah,
because like they're like oh this person kind of is listening. It's kind of like it's like I think that's what it's about. I think it's like oh this person is listening and they're like looking at me.
Connecting.
They're looking at me with eye contact. They're not like do oh that's cool sweetie oh nice babe. No, like they're actually giving you authentic feedback.
yeah,
And I think that's what it is because if someone's coming to me and they're talking to me about something like honestly I don't like to talk about nonsense. I don't like small talk. I don't like that is like that's cute and all, but I'm a very deep down like I like I like intellectual people and
conversations,
I
yeah,
like yeah and conversations and people that are more deep and that are not just superficial. And unfortunately there are a lot of people and I don't those are not my type of chicks. Those are not my type of dudes. I don't get along. I don't really get along with those
right.
types of people, and there are a lot of them that are out
Yeah,
there.
no,
And
the majority is them, and you not getting along with them, or that's not your type of people, is completely fine too. And
yeah, I'm
like
not gonna knock them, but I'm not gonna hang out with them or speak to
right,
them.
and there's nothing wrong with that because you're not, you're not maybe gonna be friends with them. That's fine, but you're not
But I
making
can
them an
clock it
enemy.
like this. I can
Yeah,
clock it like this. I'm like, okay, well, you're like, I'll try. I'll be like, hey, like maybe like, have you ever thought about this? And then they'll say something, and I'm like, okay, you're not getting it, like, or you're getting offended by something, like, pardon me, you're getting offended, and I'm like, I'm not, like, I would never try to offend anybody on purpose. I'm just
right.
trying to like, and they just are on they're stuck in their ways. They are perfect. They're perfect. They don't need to grow. They know everything. So nothing that you say is gonna and those types of people. And I try to tell like even like I don't care if it's a family member or if it's somebody that I've been even if it's somebody I've been friends with for 20 years. If you're not respecting me or you're not getting it or you're just not or you're fake.
Yeah,
No, like even with my even like people
Yeah.
in my husband's life, I'm like no offense, I'm like I know you love these people, I'm like but look, like we were talking about the whole connection thing. You're sitting there and I'm like, do these people call you? Do these people talk to you on the phone? Do you FaceTime them? Do they know anything about you? No, that's just so super, not just, and that's what anybody, it's like,
yeah,
that's not a friend. That's just somebody that, and hey, I don't want to knock a bond. I don't want to knock memories. I don't want to knock like, your connection, but your connection is not really based on anything. Like it's, what's the word I'm looking for? It's so fragile that any little thing, like I had friends like that too. Like, me, like, the girl I was talking about before, like there's friends that would do something to me that I would never in a million years do to. And it's like, all right, well now I'm glad because now you could exit my life. And now I know that, we were never really meant to be friends. It hurts, but
so lesson
it's like,
learned.
if you can do that to me, I would just never do certain things to people. I just
Right.
wouldn't.
Yeah, no, I
So,
get it. No, I mean,
Yes.
look,
Thank you so
I
much,
think that's
David, for
important.
sharing your story.
all
Yeah,
right, no
very thank
problem.
you for
Yeah, of
opening
course.
up today, coming to our podcast,
Of
sharing your
course.
story. What can you tell to the people that trying to build a relationship or building a relationship, getting to the marriage? What's the key ingredients for the successful marriage? Love Day coming up. Let's do a little.
The
What is
key,
love?
I
What
feel
is
like
it?
the key ingredient is, hey, this is coming from somebody who's only been married for a little under a year. I've been in my relationship for almost 3 years. So, but still, I still think me and my husband,
Gosh.
we really never argue. Like I remember my grandpa would always say, he's like, me and my wife, that which isn't my grandma, it's another. He's like, we've never had one argument. And my grandpa's like he's my father. Like I look up to him. I want to be. Like, I'm like, I want a marriage just like that. And I think the key to everything is honestly just accepting every part. Every part. Don't look for, oh, I wanted my husband or my wife to be like this, and they're not being like this, and now I'm second guessing. No,
Oh,
don't don't even get married. You have to love those parts, those demons.
yeah,
Love them, protect them, and know that that person is going to do the same for you.
yeah,
And always don't hold anything in, and don't speak about it. And then you don't have to. If your husband or your wife does something, you don't have to go at it and be at their throat. No matter what it is, no matter if it's the most tedious thing someone can do, you guys, that's supposed to be your best friend.
yeah,
So you can sit and talk and ask why and say what it is. Because let me tell you something. My husband is stuck with me unless he says, I don't want to be with you no more. Okay,
yeah,
then what? I can't do anything about that. But if something happens, somebody makes a mistake, you're not perfect. I'm not, none of us are perfect. So I think the key is to just talk, no matter how ugly, no matter
Communicate.
how, communicate it, and in
yeah,
a not don't yell. And if you have to yell, just don't yell, and don't name call, don't disrespect, don't downgrade, don't humiliate, don't abuse. You can yell because sometimes you have to get your emotions out. I mean, that's not something like that we do a lot, but hey, it's happened before. It's not like it's never happened. Because
yeah,
sometimes it's okay. Sometimes you need to like let that go. So sometimes it's not a bad thing to voice your opinion in an anger, but as long as you're not demeaning them, name calling them, like downgrading them, because
yeah,
that is something I would never do to my husband. I would never sit there and degrade him and make him feel bad, no matter what the case is. And I think that those are the marriages that, and always have fun and look for. I Every single time I'm like, I can't wait to see him when he gets home.
right.
Like we have I can't wait. Like I miss him even as soon as he goes. Like that's, you just have to know. You'll know. And if that's, every relationship though is different. But the one key thing that is the same is that that person has got to be your best friend.
Uh,
That's what I'll
To
say.
to piggy
Thank you,
to
David.
piggyback off of that. Yeah, communication, 110%, right? You have to lay it out, right? With yelling is always interesting to me because I remember reading a quote that said that, you know, the reason you yell is like you guys could be right next to each other and just be yelling at each other, but it's only because your hearts are so far apart and you're shouting
Yeah,
to reach them there, you know?
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
uh,
You
to
can yell and not be. You can yell and not be like disrespectful.
yeah, no,
You're just
100%.
like,
But the
you know.
biggest thing on top of all of that, right? And it's a lesson that I have 110% taken in my 5 years of marriage that I've had was never go to bed angry. You know, if there's something that ever happens that upsets you, anything like that,
Yep.
you don't say I'm gonna go to sleep and we'll talk about it in the morning. You know, because
Yeah. That's true.
there's stories I've heard where people don't get up in the morning to have that
Yeah.
conversation, and then that's the last memory you
Yeah. It's
have
true.
of your loved one. You don't
I
want
have
that.
stories people don't talk for months
Yeah.
and months,
Yeah.
living like a
So
roommate.
the
I'm
biggest
like,
thing,
what are you
because like
doing?
if you're not able to communicate, then that just means you're not able to put it into words. But with your partner, with whoever you're with, you should be able to talk about good, bad, ugly. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
You guys
Yeah.
should be able to talk about it.
Especially because, hey, if you're gonna, say you're with somebody 30, 40 years. You think those 30, 40
Yeah.
years,
Let me move.
nothing crazy.
Keep
Like
moving
nothing
with me.
nothing
Yes.
crazy is going to happen, nothing insane, no one's going to do something that you don't like. That's just not what's the word I'm looking for. Oh my God, that's not realistic.
Yeah, right. No, I agree.
So that's what I'll say.
No, that's good sound advice, and obviously Rose and I will,
Yeah.
and our viewers, whoever may be watching, we will wish you a long and happy
Thank
marriage.
you,
I
and
know.
hopefully I'll be back. I'll be back on a different topic. Rose knows. She knows I got. She knows what I'm. You know what
Yeah,
I'd be.
we like to do follow up, so we'd definitely love to have
Yeah,
you
sure.
again. Are you still in Jersey? Are you in Jersey right now? You're in Belleville,
I'm
you
in
said?
Jersey. Yeah, I'm in South Amboy.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, no, we'll
I'm
definitely
from
catch
Belleville.
up. Oh,
I'm
okay,
from
gotcha. Oh,
Belleville.
so South End Boy's even closer.
Yeah.
All right, now we'll definitely catch up in person one day when
But
once the weather gets warmer.
I had
We'll
such a good
definitely catch up.
time. I had such a good time. It goes by, and I'm like looking at the time. I'm like, oh
Yeah,
my God, shit
it
goes by
flies.
so. It goes by so quick. It just.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for having me on. And Rose, next time, just invite me back. We'll do a sequel. And I hope
Yes.
my loved ones watch this, and
Yeah,
even if
shout out.
even if they can't be live, that they can watch it later on and give it a and see
Yes, that link is gonna be yours forever. You can share
yeah,
anytime. This is your story. This is your legacy. This is for
yeah.
you and your future.
Thanks, Rose. I love
But
you so
And it
much.
was so, I love you too. It was so amazing having you. You have an amazing story. And I
Thank
know,
you.
like you said, there's one thing I know. I'm gonna go and get big, and that's going to happen for you. And I'm wishing that
I
for you.
know. I know. I'm waiting. I'm waiting patiently, but I know. I know. I
As
know.
long
I
as
have
you
no doubt.
keep discovering yourself and opening what you love and do more what you love, it's gonna happen to
Yeah.
you. It's there. It's around the corner.
Thank you, Rose.
and
And
yeah, go ahead.
Sanjay, it was nice to meet you.
Yes, a pleasure. Like I said, I'll definitely will try
You
to
could,
once the weather gets warmer, we'll meet up for dinner, lunch,
let's
something.
do it.
For
Let's
sure.
do it.
But until
I'd be
then,
definitely be down.
thank you for coming.
Oh,
Cheers.
I still got some. Look.
There you go.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh,
Where's
Cheers,
Rose?
guys.
Cheers. All
cheers.
right. Cheers, guys.
With your empty ass cup. All right.
Yeah,
I love you,
she's just
Rose.
pretending.
Rose,
Thank you.
FaceTime. We'll talk soon. FaceTime me.
Thank you so
All right,
much.
David.
Thank
All
Take
right,
you.
care.
guys.
Say
Bye,
hello to your
guys.
beautiful
Be safe.
husband. Thank
I
you.
sure will. He was
Bye.
listening the whole time in the other room.
Tell we said thank you for
Perfect.
that too.
I
Thank you.
Of
like him.
Take
course.
care.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Oh man, he's a good guy. I like him. Like I said, there's a lot of weird fakeness in the world when it comes to meeting people sometimes, but that man
Yes.
is genuine as they come. But it was nice to have a breath of fresh air, speak about love, especially right before Valentine's Day.
Yes.
We won't delve too much deeper into this. Um, but outside of that, obviously our next podcast will be after Valentine's Day. So
Yes.
those of you who celebrated, those of you who are gonna go out on your little fancy dates and all that stuff, be safe.
Love is all we need.
Have a lot of fun. Show that love. Show that gratitude. Um, any parting words, Rose?
Yes, don't forget this weekend it's Super Bowl. Enjoy the
Ah,
halftime
yes.
show. Enjoy, wear that jersey. It's the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. I am not really into any of the teams. I'm gonna root for probably. I do like the Chiefs for how they far came, and they are their coach is amazing, brilliant coach that comes with God, comes with genuine words. Eagles were always great, and I'm just there for fun. Enjoy the my friends and enjoy the game time and the friend time, and drink responsibly, guys. And
Absolutely. Be
all
safe
we
out there.
need is love. So let's get put that laugh out there. Be genuine, be kind. It's absolutely free.
Yes, ma'am. And with that, we will conclude our episode. We thank you for coming and joining us, watching live, watching after, watching on Spotify tomorrow if you have time. And we'll see you guys next week. But until then, cheers to you guys.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers, cheers.
Cheers.
And have a motivated day. Take care.
Motivated day, guys. Bye bye.